The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
Portugal the Man coming up at about 8:20 here with Brian and Kenzie on Q101. But I'm sorry to say we finally have the end of the world nailed down. We didn't do it, Brian and Kenzie, but NASA did it. The most research ever done about an asteroid hitting the Earth has been verified.
Okay.
Now, they went through everything, the skies, all the new technology, the telescopes, the infrared stuff, everything about they know what's going to hit us and when it's going to hit us. Now, it's called Bennu. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. A near-Earth object, as they call these things, an NEO. It passes by the Earth already every 6 years. Every 6 years it's been going by. And they've been watching it since September of 1999, what this thing is doing. But as technology's gotten more efficient, they say Bennu has a chance to pass through what they call a gravity keyhole, which would send it on a collision course with Earth. And we're about to give you when that's going to be. Shall I give it right now, or shall maybe wait another song? It'd be a great tease.
Am I going to have to deal with this thing?
It'd be a great tease. Casey,
All right, well, then tease it.
well, I already did kind of. I got to deliver now, right? I've already held them through a song, Case.
Pay it off.
Pay it off? Okay, here we go. The world will end in 2182. That's when it's going to hit the Earth.
So 2182.
2182. We're all done. It's gone.
So we're looking at 160 something years.
159, right?
So Harper's.
Oh, Jesus.
What? Kids. Kid?
Yeah, Mike, I guess they're in trouble. Because none of us here will be here unless some kind of science technology really improves a lot in our lives. You know, life hacks going around. 159 years from today, the Earth will end. Because when this asteroid hits, it's going to be no joke. It's not as powerful, they're saying, by the size as the one that killed off the dinosaurs, if you believe that sort of thing, 66 million years ago. I mean, we had a discussion just a couple weeks ago about when did the Bible and the dinosaurs exist together. How far apart were they? Kenzie was confused.
I was just trying to get a timeline. I just wanted an overall, an overview of the whole thing. That's all I wanted.
If we have all this information out there, why don't we have a timeline? It'd be great to have a timeline when the T-Rex was walking around with Jesus.
You know when you go to like a museum gift shop and they have all those different posters?
Yeah.
Of like planets and stuff. I just want one of a timeline of when certain things happen.
Yeah, be nice. Should we put it together?
Yeah.
So it will hit with the impact and unleash 1,200 megatons of energy, 24 times more powerful than any man-made nuclear weapon. So this will definitely cause massive death and destruction on the Earth. Will it knock us out in an extinction event like you saw in Armageddon or Deep Impact? It's possible, depending on
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you can.
Okay. So if we get hit, because it said it's going to be like getting hit with 22 atomic bombs, which
Right.
I would imagine everything just goes kaput after that whole business.
Right.
But if a chunk broke off,
Of the Earth?
yes,
Okay.
could that just float around? Because like, where would it fall? If it fell, where would it fall? It's just floating.
Well, it just goes out there.
So
And
could it break into chunks?
it
Or
could
like,
break off and then it goes orbiting around the Earth still.
So technically, oh God, this would be the one place it survives and I'd still have to be working. I mean, come on.
You still have to come in that day if you're around still.
Well, like, could the United States just float around and be like, well,
I don't think that's possible if you have a scientist out there, an expert that wants to chime in on this.
Because like it's not gonna fall.
Yeah. Well,
The no gravity thing.
It's gonna go off into the galaxy and then orbit the sun still because the sun has the gravitational pull.
Another question:
Yeah.
If we got shot into the galaxy, would we feel that or not? Because we're moving really fast right now.
Are you trying
and we
to?
don't feel it.
Are you trying to say that this thing's gonna hit and launch you from the ground into space? You personally?
No. I mean the chunk. If we're on the surviving chunk,
Yeah.
okay. If if everything else blows up and a little chunk falls off, okay. Would we even feel blasting into another galaxy? Because like we're going real fast right now, we don't feel it.
Sure, we're moving right now, like
Or
millions.
am I going to be at Aldi and like I have no idea what's going on?
The stuff's gonna fly out of your cart. Is that what you're trying to say?
I don't know, like a little jolt, earthquake.
You're losing your bran flakes there, generic flavor over there at Aldi, and they're just, what's going on? Maybe this is just something subtle and it'll all be okay. No, I think that it's going to be disastrous. I think you're not gonna survive it, is what I think. I'm sorry to be the one delivering.
Well, I'm not going to be that old anyways.
Yeah, but
I'm just
your
curious.
kids or whatever they'll be in 2182, the world will end when this asteroid hits the Earth. Now, someone points out a good point. Can you imagine if their math is just a little wrong and it comes like next year?
Well, that's
That
not
would be
a little
more
wrong.
than a little wrong. That would be like me on a math test. Wrong.
Well, listen, a lot of people get passed along at NASA, just like every other business. There's
I
somebody
just
there.
feel like they now have so much time to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, this thing does pass the Earth every 6 years, but it's going to get worse. And if there's a scientist out there,
Imagine oversleeping that day.
Yeah.
You're supposed to like break it up. Like it's going to pass us in 6 years. That's the day we're going to launch a missile into it that breaks into a million chunks so we can survive. And you oversleep.
I'll do it tomorrow. We'll launch the missiles
I'll
tomorrow.
set an alarm for the next 6 years.
Yeah, it's wild when you think of this because to think that someday nothing will be here. You know, you look out the window right now, you see this beautiful Chicago skyline, you're heading into work. I'm like, why am I going to work? Someday, nothing's going to be here. I might as well have a good time. It's not going to be in your lifetime, but still, you kind of think that way in a way. Like, why am I doing all this? What are we doing? Why aren't we living awesome every day? Because someday, none of this is going to be here.
It makes me wonder where I work. You know what I mean?
I'm not trying to fuel Kenzie's fire to go home early, but
You're making me really think about things. Yes, Case?
Oh, I just want to say I'd be so annoyed if this is how I died. If I didn't get the chance for people to grieve me. I just, like, I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but, like, when I die, I need people to know, and I need people to, maybe not honor me, but I need people to take note. And if everybody goes away at the same time, that would just
Does it
grind
make
my
you
gears.
special?
Yeah, that would really bug me.
So you're not one of those people who wants to, like, I don't want a funeral. I want a celebration of life. You want everyone upset.
No, I want a funeral.
Yeah.
I have a playlist picked
nice
out that's going to
long
bum people
one.
out. Yeah, no, it's going to be a long afternoon.
I can think of a song, a playlist that's going to bum people out. We play one of those songs.
What's Something in the Way by Nirvana?
Yeah. I'm going to be like, oh my God, at the funeral.
yeah. Case was really good, and this is one of his favorite songs from Nirvana.
I just don't want everybody to go out at the same time. I like the process of everybody getting picked off one by one. It's this thing we call life and death. The asteroid bums me out. I just want my death to be a little more special.
Some would call it a grand finale, but okay, Case.
I think like Robin says here in the text line, I'm having an existential crisis of why are we here? Why are we doing this if it's all going to end someday? And the Case's point, he doesn't want it all to end. And then everybody that, let's say, somehow scored and sold a house or created a business that made millions of dollars, and the people that didn't, it doesn't matter. We're all dying at the same time. It doesn't matter what you did.
Well, it's a good lesson to spend your money now. Don't save.
Okay, I don't like the turn this is taking. It's happening a very long time from now.
I know.
Yeah, but science is going to improve. I mean, I just read a thing where Vince McMahon, the owner of WWE,
Well, first off, way to tie that into this story.
Well, no, but I'm making a point here.
Okay.
Despite the fact that he's abused his body with steroids for 70 years and he's 70 years old now, he just said he's going to live into 120.
Yeah.
So if he lives until 120, Brian, we got a shot at 150. Kinsey's healthier than us. She might make 180.
You think we have the access to live longer that Vince McMahon has somehow?
Well, we've treated our bodies better, believe it or not. It can only look up for us.
I heard he used to drink The Rock's blood.
I believe it.
I think that's what he did to get there.
Well, then he's definitely outliving us.
Yeah, this is kind of weird. I'm just kind of feeling weird this morning, knowing that we have an exact date, 2182, that the world's going to end. Yeah, maybe I will be here, maybe I won't. But either way,
You won't be here.
why are we doing this?
Well, what should you change to make it feel like this life is worth living for
I
you?
should be riding my bike right now somewhere, don't you think?
That's your goal of living is to ride your bike? What are you, Pee Wee Herman?
That's it.
Well, I mean, not a goal. I don't want to. I don't want to do anything that special. Shouldn't I be?
Well, we see that.
Yeah.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
That's Bad Omens. Sold out show tomorrow night at Salt Shed. And good thing they put it there because in 2182, we're all gone. The Earth is over. It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
NASA is literally working on like something that you could launch into the asteroid to change its direction. The good news is they have 182 years to try to workshop this thing.
I think we've seen this before in Armageddon. Don't Look Up. Armageddon. And of
But
course,
in Don't Look Up, they thought it was like a joke. They made memes out of it. Now they're like, at least we're trying to do something.
we're trying to do something.
Well, not me and you.
Yeah, I thought you were working on that at home.
No. I wrote a letter to NASA. Hey, this could be pretty bad.
Get on this. But I mean, a lot of people texting in about, this existential crisis I seem to be having on the show when I think about why are we even doing this then? Why shouldn't we all be just having a good time? I don't like actually saying we're here for a good time, not a long time, but hey, this is appropriate here. We know exactly when the Earth is going to end now. 2182, it's over.
Someone said there's a bigger chance of nuclear war. This is just turning so depressing.
I just try to find the meaning of life. Like Jose checked in from Chicago. He said, this is the kind of conversation I have with my friends high as F at 3 in the morning. And I appreciate that. I'm totally stone sober right now. And I'm ready to have more discussion, but we'll probably move on at this point because we do have Portugal the Man checking in here in about 10 minutes.
I know. He's going to call up. I'm excited.
Very exciting. But still, just put it on your phone right now. 2182. I don't know what time of the day that thing's going to hit. We can't get that accurate at this point, but
no, you gonna put it in your calendar?
Yeah.
It doesn't go that far.
I want a reminder.
I can't even get a calendar that goes to next January. Okay.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Live it up today. It's over in 2182.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. And joining us right now is John Gorley from Portugal the Man. And the memories, first off, just to get started, John, is about the Aragon last year. Q101's Twisted Christmas. And what a show that was that night. And all the Twisted shows are always amazing. And by the way, we'll be making an announcement about Twisted Christmas for this year coming up really soon. Brian and Kenzie will. But what are your memories of that show and Chicago in general?
Yeah, well, that show was so interesting for us. We had been touring kind of like nonstop up until everything shut down. So I think like coming out of the pandemic, we kind of went back into like autopilot mode where we're like, okay, we'll pick back up where we left off. Oh my God, that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So the Aragon was actually like, we went back into our space and we were like, okay, Chicago was one of our first sold out shows we ever had. So It was like one of our first sold out shows. We were like, we should play Chicago. Like we should actually go back to our first album and relearn a bunch of these like older songs. So that was actually like the first time we had played like this new version of what the set has become. And it was so fun being out there being like, oh my God, I remember playing Marching with Six and Chicago in Chicago for the first time. I remember where we were, and we actually had some of the same friends out at that show that were at some of those early PTM shows. It was like a weird like family reunion. It was really, really fun.
That was wild. It was an amazing show, so memorable, and taking us in that little peek inside of your thought process really takes it home for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's so cool. I mean, coming to Chicago over the years, like the crowds in Chicago are just totally different than other places you go. Like I guess it's just a lot of our early times as a band. It was really formed there. I mean, that's where like all of our friends were, and I remember going to like house parties. We were just talking about this last night, actually, like the way we used to go to shows, and we would be like, hey, we can't afford hotel rooms. If anybody has a place to stay, or if you want to hang out or like have like a house party or whatever, like we would play house parties out there and we would crash on people's floors, and it was so much fun.
Oh, that's great.
The times have changed for you.
A little bit, yeah.
We can afford hotel rooms now. It doesn't mean we always get the hotel rooms. We are down to sleep on floors still.
I'm not far from the Aragon. You can have a house party at my place if you want next time. I'll make sure you set that up there for my 10-month-old girl there. She'd love that.
You know what? I'm going to one-up Brian. You are more than welcome to sleep on our couch.
Yeah.
You don't even have to sleep on the floor.
See, I live a mile from the Aragon. Mackenzie lives about 40 miles from the Aragon out in the burbs.
More space, though, so it's up to you.
Bigger place, way bigger real house. I have an apartment, but she has a big-ass house, so, you do that next time.
Wow, y'all are getting fancy. You got couches. This is big for PTM.
Okay, hang on, John, for a second. We're going to play some Portugal the Man and come back. And by the way, has anybody had Portugal the Man at their house for a house party? Check in with us at 312-591-8300. And John also wanted to call up and bring awareness to something going on with his daughter, and terrible diagnosis of an incredibly rare disorder. And I think people that have a kid out there or a family member that also had to struggle through something may find this fascinating. And we're going to get into it a little bit with Portugal the Man, with John, in a second, after we hear Portugal the Man right now with Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. We have John Gorley from Portugal the Man on the phone, and talked about his Chicago days and Twisted last year and all the greatness that this band and entertainment has delivered with Q101 all over the years. Their first sold-out show was in Chicago. But I also wanted to talk about Frances, his daughter, who's really been struggling after being diagnosed with an incredibly rare genetic mutation. And I think a lot of our listeners can relate to this kind of stuff out there. If you have a problem in a family member or a daughter or a son, it really hits at your heartstrings. And just tell us about Frances, John, and what you guys are going through.
Yeah, so just raising Frances, she was raised on tour with us, so she would be out on the road with us. It was actually, she had these learning delays, just little delays along the way that we're like, oh, it's probably spectrum stuff. She's probably got something like that going on. It was just hard to see it growing up because she was surrounded by this whole crew of people who loved her. So whenever she'd try to walk, somebody would pick her up. So we didn't really catch any of this stuff until she was about 3 years old, that she was missing some of those milestones. If we started taking her to OT, like occupational therapists and speech therapy and things like that to try and catch her up. And just watching her grow, she's so fun. She's so funny. Like we kind of missed this stuff until she was about 2 years ago. So 9-10 years old, she started having seizures. And it went from like 1 or 2 seizures that her occupational therapist caught to like 100 a day.
Oh my!
It was really quick that she started having these seizures, and it was really scary. I mean, just seeing that with a kid, like she's falling down, and our doctor suggested we do genetic testing, and we find out she has this thing called DHDDS, which is this neurodegenerative developmental as well disease. And this is what's causing her seizures. So we kind of go through this process of getting her seizures under control. And we've been just on this pretty wild journey in the genetics world of like, how do we find a treatment? There is no treatment for this thing. You know, she is one of 6 kids with DHDDS. Her specific form and the greater group of DHDDS is, I think it's like 70, 77.
That is insanely rare. I mean, that's insane. That's one of 6?
So this is something in the rare disease community. Like, rare is not rare. There's a lot of 1 of 6. And we're really stressing the importance of genetic testing. It's become accessible now. And it's so easy to do, but it's something I wish we had known earlier on. You know, it would have been so helpful to know this stuff in the beginning. Like,
there's no way I can imagine what you go through with this every day, especially like you just mentioned to start off the call. You drove an hour one way for her school. So every day you're doing that right now when you're not on tour is a 2-hour drive for school, a round trip school thing?
Yeah, it's 4 hours every day because you go there to drop her, drive back, drive out again to pick her up. I mean, we got a Costco membership now, so we can come in.
My man.
If we need to be here all day. Took Zoe down here at one point, and I said, "Have you ever been to a Costco?" Frances's mom is British, so she was like, "I don't think I've ever been to a Costco." I was like, "Oh my God, you've got to see it."
You're in for it. People that can help any way they can, go to chrisblackchangedmylife.com, and there's 2 buttons on the top there. One says Frances Changed My Life. The other one, you can hit on that and talk about, of course, the music and the things that Portugal the Man is doing, that way. So you can do both right there.
Right. You can check out that album and then also check out how you can help out with Frances.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys so much. That's really, really incredible. I appreciate you guys having me.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101, and we take you into the Wayback Machine right now. Way back to a Burger King in 1993. A news report when Burger King announced they are going to use credit cards. The first time any fast food place used a credit card. And here's how it went down.
Ahead of the game, baby.
Oh, they were way ahead of it, I guess.
Cash or credit?
What? The home of the Whopper is offering cash or credit.
I think it's pretty bad if you have to use a credit card when you go to a fast food restaurant for something as little as $3.10.
If I use my GM card, I get a 5% rebate. Thank you. If I eat here long enough, I'll be able to buy a pickup truck.
Burger King bosses say workers won't have to figure out how much change the customer gets back.
I just hope it doesn't slow things down at the cash and carry, that people are going to be having to call New York and get the confirmation or, whatever it is. Because when I want a Whopper, I want it now.
Just another way to spend money. I'm sure it'll work for people on vacation when they don't have to do something, but I can't imagine it working on a day-to-day basis here.
So far, the smallest credit has been for $2.50. The largest, just over 10. Jamie Costello, News Channel 2.
Uh-huh.
I feel so lazy because I get mad when I can't tap my phone. I'm like, oh, God, what did I pull up on my horse?
Yeah.
What do you mean I can't tap my phone?
That happened. I don't know where I was, but they said, the tap doesn't work. You got to insert it. And I went,
Oh,
my God.
God.
Also, I went to 7-Eleven and got a big gulp. And so I tapped for that with the card. Then I said, I forgot I wanted to get a donut, too. And I went back and got a donut. So 2 taps that were probably, $1.50. They're saying, if you have to go to use a credit card for a fast food place.
I guess I just don't know the difference because it's like, didn't you guys just write checks for stuff? That makes more sense.
Can you imagine when you were out in a grocery store behind somebody, I'm writing a check?
Imagine how pissed you would have been that you forgot you wanted a donut or whatever. You're like, oh my God.
You got to go back in.
I got to write another check.
Do you remember do you use cash at all?
No.
Yeah.
My husband has, if I get cash, I give it to him. I don't know what he does.
That sounds like an arrangement. I don't know what's going on there.
No, just you do that. For and we pull it out when we're like, okay, we're going on a trip and we know we have to tip a lot or something like that, like an all-inclusive, and we just want to leave $5 on the table, for every meal or whatever.
Yeah.
So that type of stuff, or when your bag's carried to your room. I feel like we save all of our cash when we go on trips or something.
It feels so archaic.
I don't even know what's on there anymore. I don't even know the picture because I don't use.
I probably shouldn't say this because then someone's going to jump me, but I try to walk around with $100 on me all the time, just because I feel safer with $100 on me. I don't know why.
I don't even like money on me.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
But I use the card for the big go. I don't use any of the cash, but I just want to have a little bit on me just in case.
Everybody uses a card.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Burger King was the first in that situation. They thought it wouldn't last. Oh.
I love how they thought it would take longer.
Yeah.
That's just kind of funny.
It's way quicker now.
It's an interesting concept.
But everybody doesn't have those taps working. Get that going. I can't insert. I can only tap.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
Well, we all congratulated Kenzie for getting nominated for an Emmy earlier this morning, a couple hours ago.
Woohoo.
Big TV award. Big TV thing.
My husband, Roman, and I, we got nominated last night for our New Year's Eve special on ABC.
It's pretty cool. ABC 7 airs that, and you'll see him. And me and Case are going to be in the background this year. Now that we know Kenzie, we'll just be, we'll be lurking, and you'll see us around there.
We'll see.
You're all family, right? We're all family?
We're all family,
That's
sure.
right. Yeah. Family sometimes has to do things that they don't want to do with other family members.
What are you trying to say? You sound like a creepy uncle right now.
That's what I mean. You don't want me there because I'm the creepy uncle of the whole thing.
You are the creepy uncle.
All right, so very nice. And it was sad because last night when she got nominated for this, she couldn't celebrate with a drink because she's pregnant. And
Shirley Temple.
Yeah, it led to a conversation. By the way, Case, did you find out why they call a Shirley Temple a Shirley Temple? You now know who she is, but why does she have a drink named after her?
I've been producing a morning show all morning. I really haven't been able to dive into Wikipedia all that much.
That was part of the show, so that's a no then?
Okay, sorry. No, you're right. I just won't book John Gourley of Portugal the Man next time. I'll actually spend my whole morning on Wikipedia.
I could argue that finding out how the Shirley Temple became a Shirley Temple is equally as important as John Gourley for Portugal the Man.
I always thought the drink was named. I didn't know Shirley Temple was a person. I thought the drink for the longest time was named after Lucille Ball because it's a red drink.
Yeah.
And I thought it had something to do with her. But I will do a quick Google and figure out why it's called a Shirley Temple.
Go do that. On our Facebook page, we posted about...
And, well, she was a famous child star.
Correct.
So, the rumor has it that, from what I understand, I wonder if this will be fact once he looks it up, is it's because that's the drink that she would have out because she was underage.
Yes, Kinsey is onto something. If you go to 7up.com/recipes/Shirley Temple, the drink was named after the iconic child actress Shirley Temple because legend has it that when she would go out to dinner with Hollywood types who were enjoying cocktails, the bartender would make her a special non-alcoholic drink so she could, quote, feel fancy too.
Aha. Thank you for finding the answer to that, Doc.
I'm good at my job.
Yeah, everybody learned something today.
She kind of invented the mocktail, truly. That was the first one.
Very sugary drink, Shirley Temple. And Kenzie couldn't drink and celebrate. But we threw to you, what non-alcoholic drinks could you celebrate with possibly and still enjoy it? And a lot of people checked in on the text line with different things out there. There's a hoppy refresher from Lagunitas, great brewery, local brewery. All the hop, taste, zero alcohol.
Is that how you say that?
Lagunitas? Lagunitas?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you say it.
Is that the Lagun, that one?
Yeah.
Will you say it slowly?
Lagunitas.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was Lagundas. I swear to God. What is the point of the U?
Well, it's Lagun.
You're not even using it.
I'm going fast, but Lagunitas, like the U, Lagunitas.
I thought it was a Take a Laguntas, please.
I want you to do that. Can I have the Laguntas hoppy refresher? So that's people saying sparkling lemonades from Aldi. You ever bought those?
No,
you
I
celebrate
have not.
with that. Limeade or cranberry juice with soda water added. Okay.
So I will say what's crazy, as you look for even more answers, is that this morning is the first time I've ever spoken out loud about, like, I would really love to find a great, they make non-alcoholic wine. I know that there's sparkling grape juices and stuff, but they make, like, non-alcoholic wines. Is there a really good one that tastes like a dead ringer as if you're still having wine and stuff? And I go on my phone like 10 minutes later, and there were ads for non-alcoholic wines.
That's freaky.
That has never popped up before. I have not talked about it, and I'm like, oh, my God.
And they'll always say, well, we're not listening. It's just coincidence from what you Google. You didn't Google non-alcoholic wines.
I did not Google non-alcoholic wine.
Yeah, targeted ads.
I will say they're also kind of helpful because I'm like, oh, I was about to look for this.
Hey, people like to complain about their privacy getting taken. Targeted ads actually work.
I was like, no, that was a pretty good deal.
Yeah, not bad.
That's what I was looking for.
I mean, it kind of finds your stuff. Welch's surprisingly has a handful of mocktails besides sparkling grape juice like sangria, strawberry daiquiris, pina colada, rosé, mimosas. I guess Welch's sells those.
I didn't know that.
I still think it's weird to celebrate without alcohol, which is a me problem because people have problems with alcohol too that you shouldn't be drinking. But for me, it feels like it's a lesser celebration without a little alcohol. Again, that's a me problem. I got to figure that out.
It is a you problem.
I'm glad you recognize it as a problem.
Well, I'm not going to change it if
it
that's
is
what it is.
the first step.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
11
sure.
more to go, Brian.
Oh, jeez. Wait, there's 11 more steps? Holy cow.
There's a whole program out there. You got to check it out.
Oh, jeez. I'm fine. I'm
You're
good.
You're a percentage of the way there.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.